get backers, and I get maybe.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow space enthusiasts. Welcome to the future. We're going to be doing a live disruption report today, and together joining me, we have our additional hosts who you may know. Jordan, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
I'm Jordan Wright, the Angry Astronaut. Glad to be here.
And we also have an additional co-host who is going to be joining us quite more frequently. We have Mr. Steven, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Yes, hi, I'm Ben Steven from the Netherlands. I am a software engineer, game developer, musician, futurist sometimes, but I like to call myself a bit of an inventor, so definitely up for this disruption thing. Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about quite a few things today. Is anything that anyone would like to kick us off with? Is there anything we'd like to delve right into?
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes right down to it, I've been looking at the different things. I mean, we're talking about things that are going to, completely transform the way our lives work here on Earth as opposed to in space. The whole Amazon drone delivery thing, it seems like, according to the news here, the Amazon laid off, well, it was last year, laid off half their team. Does it look like that this is something that just isn't going to happen? Is this an idea that seemed neat, but it's just not going to go through?
I mean, I think that it could be a very interesting future if it does happen. I mean, the way that things are going is very progressional, and I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things that could come as a risk with it. But at the same time, as long as they were to really work on those possible risks, like drone malfunctions, etc., stuff like that, and then of course, then it would become something that I think could be very beneficial.
Yeah, legislation might get in the way still, I think. I think that's a lot of things with drone delivery, especially, I mean, they don't get up very high, but still it's regulated very, very closely. And I think that's a big hurdle still to take.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't remember entirely what the full restrictions on drones were. I believe that at one point in time, drones weren't allowed to be flown within a certain radius of citizen houses and stuff like that. I don't know if the laws were different in different places, but I know here in Scotland we had someone get charged at one point because of flying these drones within housing districts.
Absolutely, and then we're talking about autonomous drones, which is even worse. I mean, I guess in some way it's not worse because they wouldn't just crash. That could happen to like cheap drones, but still. A lot of hurdles to take there because I'm actually, I forgot one thing. I teach AI in university. AI has this way of working together with legislation that is really it's something that is so new still in ways, even though it's been going on since I don't know, at least 30 years that we have practical applications for AI. There are still a lot of law making is just not prepared for autonomous stuff yet. So it's one of those things that really need politics to get in line, and a lot of politicians really don't know what's going on and don't know what to think about. So that's going to take a little bit more time. And
now there's apparently something that just mentioned about there being actual drone delivery in Africa, that it actually has been successfully tested there. And that's one thing actually that, when we're talking about regulation may not be as much of an issue, at least currently, is we don't have as much air traffic, in a variety of lesser developed countries. So might this be, a niche to exploit, to deliver to places like that where they're not able, where air traffic isn't as much of an issue?
Yeah. So this zipline thing, I believe they deliver medicine and blood to hospitals and locations where it would be very hard to reach quickly. And I believe they serve millions of people already. So it definitely works as a proof of concept.
And it is definitely
politicians
something
just-
that's beneficial.
Yeah, politicians just need to pick this up and see, okay, this can be useful, so maybe we should make allowance. But I think I'm not sure how that works. Like different countries, different rules, and different ways the politics play. But people need to first bring this to attention of the politicians. I think so.
It's definitely something that we can gain something from. I mean, delivering blood packages to hospitals. I mean, personally, my father used to be a taxi driver, and he used to deliver blood from our local city to another city an hour and a half drive away. And they're very appreciative of these things. And just having a drone be able to do these things, that's incredible. I mean, it takes a lot of time away from other people who can focus on other things and benefit other things.
Yeah.
A remark was just, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you're going to say the same thing, I think.
A remark was made about pollination drones being developed. Of course, this brings to mind one of the, in my opinion, the best episode ever of of a certain science fiction show, a certain British science fiction show that involved pollination drones on the rampage. And in some ways, that kind of makes me wonder too, what's our dangers with hacking this sort of stuff? I mean, you know, if you have thousands of these things in the air that theoretically are not supposed to be getting in the way of air traffic, and then all of a sudden it gets hacked, and then you have people, you know, terrorists that could send thousands of these things flying straight into the path of an airliner or something. You know, has there been any discussion as to how thoroughly protected these things are from being hacked?
I think that is one of the things that actually should be in the legislation, but from like a software point of view, I think there is like a lot is known these days about hacking, and there's like military grade protection that you could do, but I think that especially these huge networks of drones, they would have some good like engineering to them. So let's see. So somebody said in the chat that like I've lost that one now, but here.
Scroll back up.
Yep.
By the way, guys,
there was
please please
yeah.
subscribe.
Yeah,
Got
that would be
very cool
very
going on.
beneficial for everyone
Yeah.
here. It would help you
Indeed.
guys get more content. It would help us see you guys more. At the moment, I know things have been a bit rocky, but we are still in the process of getting everything up and running. It's great to see so many of you here and interacting with us, and it's great to have so many of you actually waiting to come live with us. And it's just awesome to see how many people are actually sitting here talking to us right now. It's kind of blowing me away at the moment.
Anton Nim, thank you very
thank you
much for
so
the
much,
super chat
Anton.
you
Great.
just delivered. And of course, just like my channel, this is what drives content on these channels, is the support of viewers like you. So thank you, Anton. Really do appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Let's see. What else do we have on the agenda? The Gigafactory, and we have a drone tour, or a drone flight video of Giga Berlin. I've never actually seen that before.
No,
I'd be interested if we can cue that, or if we have the ability to do that. Okay, so we'll get the. In the meantime, let's
look at some questions that were asked.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll go ahead and answer questions until we get the video.
yeah, for
Let's
sure.
see, where were we? That's a space question. We could still do that, right? Will we still see a true MPT ship flying between Earth and Moon in the next decade?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely. We
Yeah.
absolutely will see a nuclear thermal propulsion by 2030, unless the current plans that are in place do not come to fruition. But there are definitely plans in place for a test nuclear thermal article to be run in the middle of this decade, and then full-fledged nuclear thermal propulsion by the end of the decade. And that is why I believe we're going to be using nuclear thermal propulsion to get to Mars. I think that's just I think that's going to be a necessity.
Yeah, they will not carry humans yet, of course, in this decade, I think, because that will still need to be proven, and you need a lot of flights for that. That's what I think. But, right. But oh yeah, we do have the Giga Berlin thing there now.
Yeah,
So
we've got it up
take a
and
look
it's
at that.
ready to go. So let's have a quick look here.
Yeah,
All right.
forward to
Let's see
checking it
what's.
out. Oh wow!
A lot of Teslas.
Yeah.
Yes, very much
Right.
so. Electric vehicles are definitely becoming the way of the future, and not just with Tesla anymore. There's some very, very good competition
Yeah.
to Tesla.
I actually drive a
coming out as
Nissan
well.
electric vehicle. Yeah, it's great. I actually, on the street you just hear people. Just this week, I actually heard some random person on the street saying, "Oh yeah, our next car should also be electric." When I drove past with my Leaf, so you hear that a lot these days. I mean, it probably depends where you are in the world, but
And
especially
yeah,
in, like,
for sure. In my local city, we've only recently just had electric car chargers like starting to pop up in car parks and stuff like that. I mean, I don't see very many cars using them very often. I think I've seen one in the past year and a half that actually does use the public use charging ports. But no, I've definitely seen more of them pop up around the years. So they're definitely becoming a lot more of a popular thing to have.
this
One that I'm
factory is so
interested in.
impressive, though.
One I'm interested in is the Polestar,
Yes,
put out by former Volvo engineers. That's, from what I understand, that's a very good car. So on my wish list for the future at some point, I guess.
Yeah, would be nice.
But seeing this drone moving through all these different obstacles, though, like
how do they pilot it?
yeah, it's very impressive.
It's a very impressive drone pilot, I guess.
I mean, I've tried to fly drones before. I can't get them to go around my room, let alone go through a car. Like,
indeed. But this factory, oh my god, it's huge. And
it is.
Everything is. There's so little people there, like almost zero people. It's great. I mean, it's great from my. I love automation, of course, as an AI specialist. So yeah. Oh my God.
A remark was made, by the way, that on how nuclear thermal propulsion is not an absolute necessity to get to Mars. That is true. There's no question about it. We don't have to wait until we have that technology to get to Mars. I just feel that given the pace that NASA and the Space Force and everyone else is starting to develop nuclear thermal propulsion, that's in their wheelhouse. That's, I don't think it's a coincidence that they're working on developing this technology at the same time as we're planning to go to Mars. I think they're working in conjunction. But.
Absolutely. So they are only making Model Y there? Actually, this huge factory that we see here. Do we know that?
I think so, I believe so.
Or maybe. All right. We just heard this. The first European Model Y is there. Yeah, pretty cool. So I'm actually really looking forward to seeing the actual production of the Cybertruck, of course. That's talking about Mars. That's of course Elon's goal to make that kind of vehicle, but they probably won't do that in Berlin.
It's too wide. I don't see how you could.
Well, there's there was talking about the European version, right? There would be a slightly smaller version for European roads of the Cybertruck, but I'm not sure that they went through with that because I don't think anybody heard anything about that after. I think that was the video that he did on. What's his name? The car guy. Yes. Was it? I don't know. Well, anyway, I didn't hear anything more about it, but it seems likely that they would do that. Actually, just makes sense to not have a American version that can never really drive on these small European roads. So yeah.
I've had a comment saying that by the time that we can afford an electric car, maybe batteries will be better and cars will be more affordable. with the price that things are going at these days, I'm not 100% sure about that one.
Well, I bought an electric car secondhand already a few years ago, which it had really, really awkward range. I mean, was like 40 miles or something, but it's still, for my purpose, it worked at that point. And I just got in like that, and just, now I could buy a better one. But
I mean, me myself, with the electric cars, I truly believe that they are going to be the future thing that everyone has. I see them much and such, like when the BlackBerry came out, everybody who had one when they first came out, they were very like, I don't know, I think they were kind of like the hipster thing when they first came out, and they were really popular, and then they just started to get mocked, and suddenly they became like really unpopular. However, like with the electric cars, we're seeing it in a bit of a reverse. A lot of people are rejecting the idea, but electric cars are going to be the way forward. They are going to be the way of the future to prevent a lot of pollution on our part. But I've heard a lot of opposite talk with possible facts that the batteries used and the batteries having to be disposed with the new electric cars could be just as dangerous for the environment as the pollution that we put out. But I don't have a complete background check on those details. I've just heard these details through multiple different sources who have stated their opinions, though I can't say if
I do believe
those.
that recycling lithium batteries is dangerous but doable, but you do need to have a proper plan in place. I did hear at some point that Tesla has a plan for that, at least, but I'm not 100% sure. I mean, they're working with Panasonic, is it, for the batteries? Is their partner? So they must, at least being in that industry for years and years, must know quite a lot about that already.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can definitely say that when you first think about TVs or anything like that, Panasonic's kind of the name that comes to mind first. So I can definitely say they've got a bit of experience with TV remotes for sure. So
yeah, but like batteries, I think was it? Well, anyway, their partner is like one of those old long-term battery makers. So we see that Giga Berlin will manufacture batteries, battery packs, powertrains, and seats, with work including casting, stamping, painting, drivetrain assembly, and final assembly of Model Y and future models, with an annual capacity eventually reaching 500,000 cars. That's kind of insane. 500,000 cars per year. That's like 2,000. No, okay, like almost 2,000 per day. That's, oh my god.
Yeah, maybe they can afford to give one for free. They'll maybe have a competition. maybe I can enter. Maybe
Elon.
This would be
Elon. Yeah.
The infrastructure is important as well, though. So one thing when we were talking about electric cars and the drawbacks with producing the batteries, I mean there's the mining that has to go into it for one thing. I mean that's destructive. The amount of energy required in order to power these things.
Yes,
so you need an infrastructure to support it. The power, the factories, for example, or rather the power plants that support the gigafactories need to be powered by green energy. All of the mining that's being done, the nickel, for example, and other things need to be mined for these batteries. It would be much better if we could mine that stuff on the moon. And it's there. There's an enormous amount of metallic resources in the South Pole of the moon. It's going to take a lot of investment, a lot of work to make the whole cycle green.
Well, especially if you have a mass driver on the moon, because that would make it a lot more sustainable to get stuff back here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that, I think Sebastian and Jijuan already spoke about that on this channel a couple of times. Like that would be ideal.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. That would make it more sustainable as well for that. And Szabolcs already also just said in chat, I think, like we also have the power to the cars, like how will we produce the power to charge the cars? Actually, I have solar panels and an electric car, but that's not enough if you wanna use it for day-to-day, everyday driving every day, and that's of course still an issue. But I think the world getting into solar and the transition there is a big challenge overall. because of the power grid situations. Like it's really hard right now, but I'm pretty sure they'll figure out good solutions. But it's still what they will be is, to me, it's not very clear.
I mean,
a lot of power storage.
for Scotland, I know that there's been a few leaps and bounds in the wind industry, wind power turbines, stuff like that. So maybe there's something there that could possibly contribute to it, or something that could possibly be of benefit towards that. But all in all, like, definitely having the energy for all these electric cars is definitely going to be a big question. And unfortunately, I think that's something that we don't quite have the answer for yet.
No.
All the geothermal energy in Iceland, that's something that I think is an untapped resource. Having just come back from there a few months ago, there is so much in the way of geothermal power available in that country, and nobody, to my knowledge, is using it to produce much of anything. And that's a huge opportunity, I would think. It's a sparsely populated country, but I think there's big opportunities for green energy production in Iceland.
Yeah, but then there's energy transport as well. So there's a thing there because Iceland is not that close to anything. So
Yeah.
All right. New topic?
Yeah, I think so. So,
Oh, I see. I talk too much. I'll look at that. Sorry if I did that. It's just new for me as well.
no,
Ryan,
don't you worry.
it's good. It's good that you say it.
We're all getting used to it. Definitely, no question about that. Crypto drama. Apparently, that's another topic that we need to talk about. And I don't know much about cryptocurrency at all. Apparently, people all likely own an NFT of some kind in the form of a Fortnite skin or something. I was unaware of that. I thought I was doing everything I possibly could to avoid NFTs like the plague, but maybe I already have one. That's kind of interesting.
I remember having a
what do you guys know about
conversation.
it?
I actually remember having a conversation with Aaron, our host. Not our host, sorry, with
Our producer.
AnotherSpaceNut, Aaron. And I remember he was actually saying about this NFTs, and I was like, no, I've never been anywhere near an NFT. I'd never even touched one. And then he mentioned that Fortnite skins, and I realized that I've played quite a bit of Fortnite in the past, so it's very possible that I have an NFT.
That's funny.
They sneak their way in somehow. I don't know if anybody's watched the recent South Park.
I did not.
That it was one that was called 40 Years in the Future. And this one guy, I'm not going to mention too many character names and stuff. I did for fear of copyright kind of stuff. But he can destroy entire societies by starting to talk about NFTs and like hypnotizing them to blow every dime they have and mortgage their houses and stuff to buy NFTs. And by the time they're done, they're like, it's all gone. My money, my stocks, my retirement. But I have this little donkey with a sombrero on my cell phone.
Yeah, that's more important, right? And also, you have it, or like, what does it even mean? That's of course a point that has been talked about a lot. But yeah, I do know how crypto works. I know how NFTs work, but I really didn't get much into the social like part of it. I don't see. I see how crypto can be very useful in like decentralizing stuff, and especially on Mars, it could be very useful. I mean, there's Mars Coin and Space Coin. There are all those initiatives trying to make like a coin that we can take along with us, and then like you have a separate server run over there or something. I say we because I somehow envision myself sometime setting foot on Mars. But other than that, I don't know if it's really gonna change the world. Crypto. I mean, partly.
I feel like with the way that the world has been progressing, and of course with the pandemic, of course, like things may start to go and lean towards more cryptocurrency things, more crypto-based things, just purely because, I mean, the whole idea of Amazon delivery by like drone and everything, that really got kicked off during the pandemic, with everybody not being able to be in contact with people, not being able to come outside and everything. It just made things a bit more of a simple idea. So the idea of cryptocurrency, not completely out there, really.
No, true.
Well, and now Russia, of course, because of necessity, because of the sanctions on them, they're starting to make a lot more use of cryptocurrencies now in order to handle their transactions. But that's because they have to, not necessarily because they want to.
Yeah.
If I may switch gears real quick, one thing I
Mhm.
saw on the list, and I think there's more topics than we can possibly cover here in one episode, is
good.
fusion. There's an Australian-based company called HB11 conducted an experiment in a laser facility apparently in Osaka, demonstrated non-thermal fusion of hydrogen and boron 11 using high-powered lasers. How close is fusion? I mean, we've asked this question a million times, and we always say just around the corner, and it never is.
It's one of those things that are always 20 years off, right? So
yeah. I mean, are all these breakthroughs, is this something real? Is this something that could become a reality, actually in 20 years or perhaps less? I mean, what's everybody's opinion on that?
I mean, I personally, if you were to have a dedicated enough team who were willing to literally throw caution to the wind and do everything in their possible power to make it happen, I think there is a possibility we could see it.
It might also be dependent on sheer luck.
Yeah,
which
just
I mean, somebody discovering
right
some little thing or doing a different calculation. I think it's still possible. Absolutely, it could even be possible within 10 years if somebody just finds out the right parameters or makes some kind of breakthrough. I mean, we know what Elon says about it. Like, we already have a fusion source. It's the sun, and we could just use that its power. But I think that's a little too simple. But yeah, no, I do believe it could be within 20 years. It could also be that we don't discover the way to do it in the next 100 years. So,
I mean, I once heard a quote that kind of stuck with me. A lot of science expansion and a lot of human expansion is dependent on three things: human determination, human willpower, and luck of being in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My daughter actually did some work last summer on that particular topic. She's in nuclear engineering, and she was just working on the machine oil involved in the in the device, and just seeing which type of machine oil deteriorated the least after being exposed to radioactive isotopes, which I found to be amazing that she was actually working on that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, her views are it's still a ways off as well. But then again, she's only got one project, one aspect of this, whereas somebody else could be working on something entirely different elsewhere.
There's bound to be like many projects going on at the same time, and just one of them needs to have that crucial breakthrough. So, and recognize it. That's also a thing in science as well. People could have had the breakthrough already and just didn't measure it or recognize it.
That's also, definitely
something that Isaac Asimov wrote a lot of nice stories about, like doing a discovery and then losing the data or something like that.
It'd be amazing to think that one of these days someone just happens to pop along and find like a chest of drawers on eBay or Amazon or something that just so happened to have the plan for teleportation.
Teleportation.
Just chilling around inside the desk. We had no idea it was there. It's been there for like 600 years. We didn't know.
A very good point, by the way, was made in the comments for elements used in batteries. Perhaps near-Earth asteroids would be able to provide. I definitely agree with that. mining, asteroid mining is definitely something that can provide us with the raw materials that we need to produce green energy technology without ripping up our own environment. I mean, all of these things are so much easier and so much less destructive if we do it out in space instead of doing it here, where we're destroying our own environment in the process of trying to save it. Yeah, it requires more investment. Yeah, it does require more risk, but I mean, the rewards are potentially colossal. It would be really nice if somebody would invest, because if some billionaire would really aggressively invest in this, because even Elon Musk has stated that he's not really into asteroid mining, which is unfortunate. So we are at the 30-minute point here. I can go for a few more minutes. My son is here visiting, so I can go for about another 5 or so is my limitation. As far as the rest of you guys are concerned, whatever you want to do.
All right. Well, let's see what the chat has talked about.
Well, as another added note as to what we were just discussing with asteroid mining, with everything that's been going on recently with the production of the DART, if anyone knows what that would be, the project that is aimed at, I cannot get the wording right in my head right now, the project where we're trying to redirect asteroids and avoid a possible Earth crash scenario. With that happening recently, I believe that it's very possible that just going towards the asteroids in general, that's going to start progressing the idea. But the DART is a double asteroid redirection mission. So.
Yeah, actually, as a segue into that, it's not really what we were talking about, but a video I've got coming up, hopefully tomorrow. To my amazement, the government of Great Britain has gotten behind the concept of a orbiting solar power plant. I thought the Chinese were the only ones aggressively going after that, but the British have stated that they are going to support a $20 billion multi-gigawatt orbiting solar array. To connect to that, an orbiting solar array could also power high-powered lasers, which could be used to deflect asteroids as well. Those sorts of things serve multiple purposes, not just providing us with a lot of power here on Earth. And I have to admit, I'm amazed. I'm really amazed that it's the British that are taking the lead on this again. I mean, so many different things that Great Britain, when it comes to cleaning up LEO, cleaning up space junk, all of these, important and responsible things. And now, a very aggressive and ambitious. It's even more ambitious than the Chinese project. Blew my mind when I read about that.
Absolutely.
So definitely some neat stuff coming down the pike from that. I know it's a little off topic, but
yeah, well, we're still figuring out this disruption report, right?
Yeah,
so,
definitely. We still need to work out a lot of kinks.
Absolutely.
There's also something, renewable gasoline, that might be our final topic. I don't know. Apparently, there's a Finnish company that's developed a gasoline that is consisted of more than 75% of bio-based content. And their plans to bring that up to 95% with up to 65% less emissions. Has anybody heard anything about that? Because I am unfamiliar with that.
I know that there was recent testing in Switzerland. No, not Switzerland. Sorry, Sweden. But other than that, I've not got a lot of information on this.
No, sorry, that's not my area. Yeah, no.
Is very interesting. And by the way, a very good point was just made in the comments. Orbital lasers are a legal minefield, and yeah, they are. They are orbiting
Yes.
weapons. There's no question about that. But at the same time, I would say that, you know, there could be the possibility of these sorts of things being regulated by the United Nations, perhaps by the UN Security Council or something like that, so that, you know, it would require all of the UN Security Council members to point one of these things back at Earth, which of course would never happen, because you need Russia and Britain and France and China all agreeing to do this, which of course they never would.
No, of course.
But still, yeah, it is a complicated issue.
Yeah.
There's no
So
question
apparently
about that.
a Tokyo-based company, Japan Space Systems, has announced that by 2025 it will demonstrate a space solar power system that uses satellite to connect energy from the sun and send it back to Earth. So that is in like 3 years they will demonstrate that. I have no idea if they will be responsible. Yeah, they probably will be responsible with that, but who will will the current geopolitical situation be a little bit more or less stable than it is right now? War being like this thing that we all don't want to take up to space, but it seems more and more likely that it will. What do we think about that?
Yeah. I mean, right now, still nothing compares to the terror involved with, you know, with nuclear war and a nuclear exchange. Nothing that we're talking about taking to space, you know, a space laser or anything, unless there were lots and lots of them up there. I really don't see them being able to compare to the thousands of ICBMs that we still have at our disposal, and the immense destruction that, I mean, you know, the most powerful space laser in the world might be able to incinerate a target on Earth, but it's not going to throw, you know, billions of tons of debris and smoke into the atmosphere and cause a nuclear winter. So, I mean, yeah, these things are, you know, problematic, but on the other side of things, I think that we have a problem right now that's more serious than anything we can conceive of in the future, and that's just nuclear deterrence, as we keep calling it, even though it isn't deterrence. So,
well, it's still also the difference, because in general, nuclear weapons aren't used, and you can see this actually getting used. So that might be the only difference in the other direction.
That's a very good point. Very good point. I didn't think of that. And I am very sorry, guys. At this point, I am going to need to drop out. I don't know what the consensus is with everybody else. I've got familial responsibilities today, but it was an honor to be here. A great honor.
Not at all. The honor is all ours, Jordan. Thank
Absolutely.
you very much for being here. And I think that we are going to be wrapping it up for today, anyway. So I would like to say thank you again very much, Jordan, the Angry Astronaut, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And Stephen, you will be seeing a lot more of him here on the channel. Hopefully, we'll be able to do some more live streams, maybe possibly twice a week, depending on how popular these become. Twice a month.
Twice a month, I hope. Yeah.
Twice a month. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm getting a bit flustered there. But yeah, we will hopefully be able to do that in the near future, depending on how popular these become. And thank you so much for everyone who has joined us today. It's been absolutely amazing having you all here. And thank you for joining us in the chat. Hopefully we see you again in the future.
Yeah.
Take